The uselessness of tanks. Eastern Courier, the 1st of February 2024. People used to say, war drives women away. Nowadays people say, war drives the poor away. Indeed, war is something that the poor cannot afford, and is an exclusive gambling game for the rich. For example, tanks for poor people cannot build, cannot be bought, and cannot be used. In today's world, the rapid development of military science and technology has greatly changed the rules of the battlefield. Traditional war thinking is constantly being subverted. Among them, the theory that tanks are useless continues to be rampant. This theory holds that with the advancement of military technology, tanks have lost their original advantage of being tough and tenacious in modern warfare and have become disadvantaged. This is vividly demonstrated on the battlefield of the current Russian-Ukrainian war. 1. At the beginning, the Russian armored forces were quite active. Later it was hidden in the snow. 2. The elite third-generation tanks Leopard 2 and the former Soviet product T-72, which were aided by Germany to Ukraine, have not been seen a few times. It is tactically correct to let the tank battlefield take a vacation. After all, in the stage of military stalemate, defense is the main priority. Offensive weapons are useless. 1. No chance for tank duel. 2. There is no chance to face the strong fortifications of the late type. 3. There are only thick minefields and anti-tank cones, anti-tank trenches, and anti-tank firearms behind them. You can imagine, if an expensive star tank is overturned by a small landmine, then it is a small matter to make a joke, but a big deal to damage the brand. Just imagine who is willing to spend a lot of money to buy such a vulnerable and expensive tank. The third-generation tank star is the star in the military parade. It is used for performance, not for fighting. When fighting a war, we have to rely on older tanks that are more cost-effective and more practical in being passively beaten. The theory that tanks are useless has appeared many times in history, since the birth of tanks to the advent of nuclear weapons, and then to the Israeli-Kazakhstan war. During this period, every time a tank was saved or scrapped, it triggered waves of heated discussions. Since entering the new century, various war practices have allowed the Air Force and Navy to attract attention and steal the limelight. As a result, the academic community has once again strengthened its belief that airstrikes in future land battles will replace the flood of ground armor and play a decisive role, and armored troops will become a thing of the past. But it will be some time before tanks are eliminated. His current role is from a protagonist to a supporting role. 1. The rise and traditional advantages of tanks. As an important part of military equipment, tanks have been playing the main role in fighting battles since their emergence during World War I. Its excellent mobility, firepower, and protection make tanks almost invincible in land battles. During World War II, tanks became the core equipment of various countries' military forces and played a decisive role. However, from time to time, and to this day, many military experts have begun to doubt the role of tanks in modern warfare. It is believed that the Army's tanks, like the Navy's battleships, are bulky and completely obsolete. The key is that tanks have more natural enemies and are getting stronger. The role of a tank is, firstly, to withstand beatings, and secondly, to use its direct firepower to attack the opponent's armor and fortress targets. The basic parameters of main battle tanks in modern countries are as follows. Data comes from Artificial Intelligence Query. For reference, only 1, United States, M1A2 Abrams. Weight, about 70 tons, main gun, 120mm smoothbore gun. Armor, composite armor, top speed, about 70 kilometers per hour, crew, 3 people. Price, 15 million United States dollars to Russia, T-90, weight, about 46 tons. Main gun, 125mm smoothbore gun, armor, reactive armor. Top speed, about 65 kilometers per hour. Crew, 3 people. Price, 15 million United States dollars. 3, China, 99A. Weight, about 58 tons. Main gun, 125mm smoothbore gun. Armor, composite armor. Top speed, about 80 kilometers per hour. Crew, 3 people. Price, $18 million. 4, Germany, Leopard 2A7. Weight, about 62 tons. Main gun, 120mm smoothbore gun. Armor, composite armor. Top speed, about 70 kilometers per hour. Crew, 4 people. Price, $19 million. 5, France, Leclerc. Weight, about 54 tons. Main gun, 120mm smoothbore gun. Armor, composite armor. Top speed, about 70 kilometers per hour. Crew, 3 people. Price, $18 million. In addition, Israel, Japan, South Korea, etc. also have their own good tank brands. There is also the Arjun tank produced in India, which has received a lot of attention in the media, but it is quite controversial. Some people say that it is assembled by itself from spare parts made by IWC. Let's not talk about it here. To the natural enemies of tanks are 1. Anti-tank missile. 2. Attack helicopter. 3. Drones. 4. Smart mines. 5. Electronic warfare and cyber attacks. 6. Asymmetric warfare and guerrilla tactics. 7. Chemical, biological, and nuclear attacks. Other traditional weapons are still in use, but to a limited extent. The exceptions are anti-tank cones and anti-tank trenches. In addition, tanks can only play their role if they have air and electromagnetic control. 3 challenges of modern technology to tanks. With the rapid development of information technology and advanced weapon systems, some new weapons have posed severe challenges to the traditional advantages of tanks. Advanced missile systems, precise guidance technology, and the proliferation of drones have made tanks more vulnerable to attack on the battlefield. Individual anti-tank missiles are getting smaller, more accurate, and cheaper, and are designed to attack the weak points of tanks. 1. The American Javelin anti-tank missile unit price is $370,000 United States dollars. Although the price is high, if you calculate 1 missile in exchange for 1 tank, it is still very cost-effective. 2. Advanced anti-tank missiles fly close to the ground after being launched to avoid being discovered by opponents. When approaching the tank, jump into the air, then turn around and fly towards the top of the tank, which is the weakest point, with a fatal move that makes it impossible to defend against. Smart anti-tank mine, it can sense the noise of the tank engine within 150 meters and automatically start. It jumps into the air, then turns around and flies to the weakest top of the tank and explodes. Although there is no public cost data in terms of its function, it should be much cheaper than anti-tank missiles. The attack aircraft main task is to attack tanks from the air, of course. Their mission as tank busters has been basically completed, and they are now mostly replaced by attack helicopters for the rise of mobile warfare and asymmetric warfare. In modern warfare, the rise of mobile warfare and asymmetric warfare has further weakened the combat effectiveness of tanks. Mobile warfare is characterized by rapid maneuvering and flexible combat due to its huge size and weight. Tanks have limited mobility and are difficult to adapt to this war mode. Asymmetric warfare places more emphasis on flexible organization and tactics rather than relying on the thick skin of traditional heavy equipment, which makes tanks bulky and inflexible in such conflicts. 5 tanks are the exclusive preserve of rich people's clubs. Tanks are expensive to build and complex to maintain. The more advanced the tank, the more useless it is. The cost of building it can easily reach tens of millions of dollars, which makes developed countries feel cash-strapped, and developing countries are even more discouraged. The cost of modern tanks is affected by many factors, including technical level, equipment configuration, international market, etc. Although it is expensive, it still plays a certain role in modern warfare and is an indispensable part of the army's power. Although the theory that tanks are useless is not absolute, tanks still play an important role in certain specific situations, such as bullying weak countries. Tanks are still real tigers. However, changes in modern military thinking and the rapid development of science and technology have undoubtedly brought unprecedented challenges to tanks. To maintain an advantage in future wars, military forces must continue to adapt to the pace of technological development, innovate war concepts, and respond to complex and ever-changing battlefield environments in a more flexible and diverse manner. From the 1950s to the 1980s, after World War II, there were constant wars among small countries in the Third World, but then it gradually calmed down. The reason is not that people don't want war anymore, but that they can't afford to fight due to the high cost. In other words, it is not the people that eliminate the game, but the game that eliminates the people. To this day, war cannot be fought between big countries, because it will be a nuclear war from the beginning, and everyone will be finished together. 2. War cannot be fought between small countries. The cost of war is too high and no one can afford to play this game. Almost all the wars that can really be fought are wars between small countries with the support of big countries and other big countries. For example, the Russian-Ukrainian War in Eastern Europe and the Israeli-Kazakhstan War in the Middle East are currently raging. War is an absolute gold-swallowing beast as the cost of war continues to rise. There will come a time when even the rich will no longer be able to afford the war game. By then, the war will naturally disappear.